dark, cold world out there. There's a time to live and a time for a man to die. There are places for dead men in the earth and the sky. Don't you venture too far now, 'cause you can't come back from the place where the good guys always dress in black. When you go to the old saloon at the dead South End, gonna find you a man there wants to be your friend. If you dare to deny his wish, you'll be dead by dawn.
Alright, so my number one is a container. Has to be steel, has to be able to be bowled. I mean to purify water. All these containers are empty. Purify water with these. That's my number one, the ball. Number two would be a cutting edge of some sort, such as my bush one. But I don't carry that all the time. What I carry the most is my rat one. It stays in my pocket at all times. Sometimes I'll still carry my old case knife, but this right here, unless I go hunting, this right is my primary pocket knife. Or if I'm in the wilderness, excuse me. And number three is combustion. And I have several sets here, but we'll just show you the big glider. It's a little windy, so. Now, after the three, you have two more, such as cover, as simple as a poncho, and then cordage. I do not necessarily consider this as cordage. I consider this as rope. But now, what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to talk about all the items. Alright. So the first item is obviously cutting edge. Now all of these are cutting edge devices. Some of these are different than others. And some of them work a lot better than others. So we'll start off with the smallest knife I got on the table, which is going to be a case knife right here. Now, this does really good for fine carving. It's not a fixed blade. This is good for skinning. This is what I use this for, skinning, and I use the other blade for carvings. But you won't see me taking a piece of flint to the back of my blade. This is a treasured knife for me. Next is going to be my rat one, also a pocket knife. You know, I've never even tried taking a piece of flint to it because it's made in Taiwan and I believe it's stainless steel. So, I mean, can you get flint? Can you get flint struck off stainless steel? Yes, you can. Does it work? Yeah. Is it worth it? Damage your knife and all that? I don't think so. Unless you're in a survival situation, then if you're stuck with just your rat one, well, you better be figuring some way of getting some fire. Now, a lot of these tools that we're going to be talking about work really well with other tools that you can actually make. And see there, I just went over pocket knives. Next, we're going to go over fixed blade knives. And now this shredder is just a more, nothing special to it. It's made out of stainless steel and it has a 4-inch blade. Well, do I want this as my primary knife? Not really. With a little bit of filing on edges, yeah, you have 90-degree spine, but you still have a rat tail tang in here. You can see right there, it doesn't protrude. So, I mean, this right here is a good knife to keep it back up in your pack. But has this been your primary knife? I wouldn't suggest it. Secondly, K-bar. Now, I was in Afghanistan. I wore this on my hip / I had TV plate carrier the whole time I was there. Now this right here is a smaller K-bar. It's not the fighting style, but they get the job done. It's pretty sharp, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it has a 5-inch blade, maybe 4.5. As a survival knife, will this work? Yeah. But in reality, do I want to put my life on this? I mean, I would. Has a full tang in a sense. Tang doesn't extrude the handle, but you can see it right there. And it's held in with pins. So you could repair this handle on this knife. It's not going to be the easiest repair, but you can repair it. It's also coated. That's why I brought it out, because of the coating on the sides of it. So Dave Canterbury has his survival list of things a knife has to meet requirements of. And doing a lot of research and looking at Dave's stuff, he's really knowledgeable, and usually when he says something, you can take it to the bank. Well, actually, I don't think I've seen any time that you couldn't, but we'll just say 9 times out of 10. This, to buy these, they come with a nice little sheath. Alright, it's a Kydex type material. Goes over the hand guard, then you have one that actually goes around the handle. Then you have all these eyelets in there that you can attach to molly or your bag or whatever. And at the bottom you see I have paracord. Now what that paracord is for, this is a belt loop. Put it on my belt and I'll actually tie this around my thigh. I did not cover sheath for the Mora. The Mora comes with a nice sheath, but I don't like the sheath as much as I do this. This is a Kydex sheath. I made it myself. Has eyelets. You can attach it to molly. You can see them. And then over here, I have a ferrule rod holder. My ferrule rod just goes in there and attaches. I like the way this mounts on my belt. See right here, it actually attaches like this, so it's kind of like a scout draw, and it comes straight out. I don't know if you see it, so I'll do it again. But it mounts on my belt like this, and it comes out like that. So it's like a scout draw. I like the way it feels. It holds it in there. Kydex works good. Next is a dollar knife. It's a full tang knife, and I believe it to have about a 6 to a 6.5 inch blade. You know, I'm not doing a review on this knife. I haven't used it yet. I paid $1 for it at the thrift shop. I do know it will strike flint. Doesn't say what type of steel it's made out of, but I can't get a good spark off of it. So if this is the only thing I had, would I trust my life on it? Yeah, I believe I would, because it does meet the rest of the requirements. A 5-inch blade, I believe it's 6.5 just looking at it. Full tang, that it is. Has a nice little groove right here. It's just a kitchen knife. It's a Chicago Cutler. Model, I believe, is 5C'S. I already tried Googling to look at the description. Couldn't find anything about the type of steel it's made out of. I did get flint and spark off of it, and it has a pretty decent spine. Let's see, excuse me. You know, for $1 you really couldn't beat it, but let's see. So yeah, it doesn't get the best sparks, but you get sparks off of it. It works. That's all that matters. Anything you see on the Sable over, I will bet my life on it. But other items will work better than the rest. Now that we covered knife blades, if that's all the knives I have up here on the table, I like. Got the Bush one. I've already done a review on this. It has a 4.5-inch blade, so it doesn't really meet the criteria. But this thing, batons, it's a little thin. I'd prefer a thicker blade. Has a flat grind to it. Nice handle, and it's pretty light actually. Balance, I believe, is about right here. So it's a pretty balanced knife. The sheath for that is a condor sheath. You can see it. I can't really tell. You can't, but here it is. The sheath. Attach a Ranger band there. Holds my ferrule rod. So you can see my lovely face. So, cutting edge goes in the sheath. Next, I'd like to talk about saws. Now, this right here is a Culligan saw, and it's a one-way cutting, so it doesn't cut on the push. It only cuts on the pull. It may not be the best folding saw, but for the money, it holds up. So, a folding saw. I do have a bow saw, but it's in the truck in my bed. I'm letting a friend borrow my truck right quick, so don't have that out here. I didn't really put this in with the cutting edge on the knives, but this is a Gerber multi-tool. It works pretty good. It has a blade right here, and it also has shredded edges. So that is not my preferred method of carrying. But on the other side, it has another saw. It has an actual saw. And this also cuts only on the pull. So that's another type of saw to have with you. Now let's go into the favorites. Over here. Now you notice the large axe, and that's what I carry when I'm going to be camping. I'm gonna be out there for a long period of time. Now this axe, blooper. So this axe right here, I paid $10 for the head. Came with a handle, but the handle was busted up. Paid another $4 for the handle, and it works just fine. Cuts like a champ. Now we'll talk about my final axe over here, a new addition to everything I have. And now this right here is a camping axe, and I can't tell the maker of it, but the only flaw to this thing is it has a fiberglass handle. The head on it, I believe, is about 2 pounds, maybe a pound and a half. Cuts like a champ. And you'll see this baton here. Which I just set it down in the snow. I've shaved and flown this whole time with nothing but the X. It needs a lot of work done to it, as you can tell. But the X did all the hard work. Now I can take my knife and do some touch-ups. This is made out of oak. And it works really well, actually, especially for my bush one. So in the video, this is the first thing is cutting edge. Stand by and I'll get back with you on containers. Alright guys, so on my containers I have a few requirements. I mean, containers, they stretch from several different varieties. But the containers I'm going to cover here is the ones that actually meet my requirements. So this right here is a Israeli Army canteen. I think it's a knockoff because I'm pretty sure it's aluminum right here. But it does meet my requirements, as it is type of metal. You can boil out of it. I have not put this on an open flame besides the stovetop. I've used a stovetop open flame and it didn't appear to damage the bottle in any way. But I have 3 requirements for containers. 1, you have to be able to take a nesting cup. 2, they have to be able to be sealed back, which this one does both. And 3, I have to be able to hang them from my fish mouth spreaders, also bottle hanger, which this one does. It doesn't do it quite well. This is not my preferred bottle, but I can tell you right now it's a liter, like all canteens. It does hang in my bottle hanger. It's a pain in the butt getting out, but it works. There's the lid. So it seals it back up. Next one is my favorite of right now. It's a Guy's design. I use this one more than anything. 32 ounces. Dave has that requirement. My requirement is just enough water to get me by, really. So I wouldn't go smaller in the canteen. 32, maybe 27 at the most. But this works. This is made out of surgical steel, so this is really good. You can't bend it in at all. So meets the standards of purifying water. Bottle hanger works, so it meets that standard. Then you can reseal it. So it meets that standard. So I lied to you earlier, I actually have 4. And then has a nesting cup. This nesting cup doesn't fit the best, but it does work. So that covers containers. Now before we start this video, I'm just going to show you the combustion type items. To the left you have high carbon steel blade, flint steel striker, piece of flint, fell rod, magnifying glass, and a Bic lighter, and my hatchet. Alright guys, so the first item on the list is I'm going to show you the Bic lighter. Well, I'm going to show you this just because there's nothing special to it. Well, it's got fluid in it. There it goes. So take that in consideration is why it's important to have multiple fire starting capabilities. Always keep a big lighter on me. I think it's too cold out here actually. It might be too cold for it to start. Over here, this is a ferrule rod. You can see it in the camera. Alright. Off of a hard flat 90-degree angle. We're going to stick with the ferrule rod again, but I'm going to use the Pathfinder flint striker. So you see that. And you could probably even use a piece of flint. It's a piece of flint. So the ferrule rod, big lighter, those are my big main ones. My final one, well not my final one, but the 3 main ones I carry on me. Next one would be a magnifying glass. And I believe it has to be 6 power. This right is just the old camera lens, so pretty sure it exceeds that. I'm in the shade over here, so I'm not going to try to demonstrate it to you because I'm like a fool because there's no sun. Look at that. The next is a piece of flint. Alright, so here goes the back of my blade. See the piece of flint? I don't know if you can see the sparks coming up or not. But if not, they're there. Next one is the Pathfinder logo type flint striker. Alright, so trying to line it up in camera. Again, I don't know if you can see that, but that is flint. Now, this flint striker you saw has multi uses. So it's good at striking flint. It's also good at ferrule rod. And in here, you can see this divot right here. That is it's also a bearing block for a bow drill. So you make your bow drill and you use the bearing block. This is made of steel. I've already used it, test it out, and it works. Now, it doesn't heat up bad in your hand at all. It's pretty thick. I like to say it's like a 1/4 inch thick. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But you just see it's about a 1/4 inch right there. Well, now maybe you can see it's about a 1/4 inch. It's a little weird doing it on camera, but it's important to have more than one form of combustion on you. So my kit, number 2 is my knife. This should probably be number 1, which is used for combustion, fine cutting tasks, batoning, which if you don't need a baton, you don't have to baton. That's what a camp axe is for. Now on the camp axe right here, you see it? You see this little leather sheath? My design. See right here is a lanyard hole. So I know this isn't combustion, but I forgot to mention it earlier. So basically here, these two leather slabs right there go into the eyelet. This one goes into the sheath itself. Now over here comes out, and as you can see right here, there's eyelet here and eyelet there. Now what you do here is when you pull it, it tightens it up so that it stays inside the sheath. So it just goes in like this. Tighten it. And you come around. You got loot. Comes up. Now you come up here, take your two leather lashings, put them in a T form. You can see it right there. And generally I just do one wrap with each one. Can't see it no more, but you do one wrap with each one and just go over. Now this is good for being packed in your bag. Now when I'm not packing it in my bag, I just put the sheath on. I just tighten that up, which keeps the sheath tight. But I'm going to show you my camp axe. It does get flint. Don't know how good it'll be on camera. Now the only thing bad about this is if I want to strike a trail rod, I have to use the blade. Not a big fan of that, but it does strike a trail rod. So now you're looking at two uses this axe can do. A ferro rod, you can cut, chop wood. You don't need a baton with this, and I'm not gonna know if you're able to see it. You can spark flint off of it. It does work. It doesn't work great, but it does work. I want to show you about that. The only downfall I see to this axe at all is the fiberglass handle. So if it ever breaks, you know, I'm going to be in a bind trying to get a new one, because it's not easily replaceable. But I do have a hatchet on the way, which may take the place of this. Now combustion's out of the way. Figure since I had to use that again, I'll show you the sheath that I made. Alright guys, so right here you see several different forms of cordage. There's no limit to cordage. If it's a string and it holds something, it's cordage to an extent. Leather strap on my hatchet. That's really good cordage. It works. Bank line, any size, it works. Paracord works. Toe strap, it works. However, I will never take this in my pack, so we're just going to discard that. I was just showing it in the video just to show you. Rope, don't necessarily consider rope as cordage. I consider rope as rope. Is it bad to have rope in your bag? No. As you can see here, frays are coming undone. Now you take this down to about that size right there, and I'd consider it the biggest you could have is cordage. See, rope can be made into cordage, and cordage can be made in rope. A lot of hard work making it in rope, but it works. So you just come down here and out your rope. Now you have a line of cordage, which then you can break down even thinner pieces. So the importance of having cordage that you can break down in smaller cords is a great idea. I just want to show you that part of information is when I deal with cordage and I put cordage in my pack, the thing I'm looking for in the cordage, one, will it hold up to its task that I need it to? Am I going to go rappelling with 550 cord? Probably not. I mean, I guess if I had to, but I'm gonna triple strand the 550 cord. I mean, it holds up to 550 pounds, which is why it's called 550 cord. There's 750 cord, 350 cord, but I can just see that burning your hand, just saying how small it is. Bank line, rappel with that? Not in a million years. Someone might have done it already. Who knows? This is 36 pounds, so 36 line, so it's pretty thick and pretty strong. I'm not rappelling on it. Don't plan on rappelling 550 cord. In fact, if I'm in a survival situation, I don't plan on rappelling at all. Even in a day hike or a camp, don't plan on rappelling, because now I've probably just turned into a survival situation where I have broken legs and broken arms and broken face. I mean, I'm not the prettiest guy in the world, but I can quickly turn to the ugliest. So cordage is blood anyway, so within the limits of it, I need to be able to have a whole bunch into one small piece. Has to be strong, and on the inside I have to be able to get ply, like I have to be able to make that one piece of cordage into multiple pieces if I have to, without sacrificing the length and using all my cordage. Now this is 7 ply. This is military grade. Now let's see. I lied to you. I think this is more like 20 feet as I was unraveling it. You see all these strands on the inside of the cordage. You can take these out. You can probably use this stuff for camp. You can use this for making permanent bows and arrows. You can braid them together like as if you were making natural cordage. Make you a good strong bowstring. 2 or 3 of them would work pretty good. And then bank line, I'd say just 1 strand, that'd be great for bowstring. And then while you're making arrows and stuff, or arrows, lash an arrowhead, you can break it down into plies, as you see here. This breaks into 3 plies, which you can break it down further than that. Then I'd use those for lashing arrows, arrowheads to the arrows. So that covers cordage. Hey guys, so the last 5 of the C's is cover. And to me, cover is more than just what you're going to put over between 2 trees to keep you dry or to form some shade. Cover varies. This right here is covered. This is covered. Jacket's covered. My pants, my boots, all that's covered. And to me, cover means anything that's going to get you out of the weather and to keep you warm, dry, and also it can cool you down. Like the Afghan right here. If I wet this and I throw it around my neck in the summertime, no, I have another type of cover. And now what that cover is doing is keeping me cooler, and it's also keeping the sun off my neck, so I'm not getting burnt. I don't sunburn anyways, but a lot of people do. but it keeps you really cool. Next would be a blanket of some sort. Now, I don't have wool blankets, but I do have this blanket. And this blanket right here is just a $12 blanket I picked up at a truck stop. This is my bedroll. I usually don't use it to cover up. However, I do use it to put on the ground to separate the ground from me. Next, this 5x7 tarp. It's very thin, as you can tell, as it fits in this pack right here. Now, you may know my old cover used to consist of a big BDU looking tarp, really bulky and didn't fit in the pack. Well, this fits in the pack. It's not big and bulky. That is enough for a shelter. It's 5x7, not big, not enough for a big shelter, but you can easily form a lean-to type of shelter with it, and you could also form like a diamond shelter with it, and even like a little Boy Scout shelter, little TP or tripod type. Just basically throw the cord between two trees, tack it down on two long ends or short ends. Now you're out of the weather, mostly. Next type of cover would be a poncho. Now, obviously, when you set up your base camp, let's say I set up my base camp, I'm already using my tarp. Alright, so I can easily form this into a small shelter, as well as keep the rain off of me if I wear it as a poncho. That's another type of cover. Guys, I just want to thank you for watching the 5C'S survivability with me. And like I said, there's no particular order. I prefer containers, cutting edge, and combustion over all 5. So those are with me at all times. I usually have all 5 actually with me. I usually have cover and cordage in my little haver kit. It's not really a sack, it just holds my water bottle and then a few extra items in it. But I've also upgraded that, so y'all stay tuned, and I'll do another review on my bushcraft everyday carry kit. Made it a lot smaller and added a little bit to it. So thanks again for watching. Raw Dog 1217 signing off. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and leave comments. Comments really help a lot. No one's leaving comments right now, and I really appreciate if y'all did.
It's a dark, cold world out there.